Hi everybody, Claudia from the Wee Garden Homestead here. It is time to start a new quilt. I have fallen behind on my goals for the year. So if I'm going to do 25 and 25, I need to do 2 a month plus 1. So I am only at 5 and it's the end of March. I think tomorrow's the 31st. So yeah, I got to get going. So I have a new, and don't worry because I have one that's almost finished that I just have to put some borders on the top and then I'll be ready to finish it up. I've got the Valentine heart one that I need to finish up, but I've already counted that one. And then I've got the one in my Whip It Wednesdays that I will probably be finishing up very soon also. So don't worry, I'm going to catch up, but it's time to start a new one. So this one is for a golf enthusiast in my life. And y'all won't see this video until he has this quilt. So it started with, I found this, and it's panels, and these I think are 11 inches. So it's Sand Trap. It's called Sand Trap, and it's by, I took notes, it's by Wilmington Prints. So it's got 6 of these panels, and they're just so cute of, you know, golfers and sand traps. And then it's got a little sand trap border, and I'm going to actually use that in the quilt too. So then I also picked up 2 yards of this coordinating. Oh, that's not 2 yards. I thought I got 2 yards. I guess I only got 1. Okay, well that's going to change up my plans a little bit. I thought I got 2. I'm going to have to look because this is only 1 yard. I got it on eBay. I'm going to have to message the guy. But this is the same little sand trap scenes, but as postcards. It's called Postcards. And it's Sand Trapped with an ED on the end by Douglas Laird, licensed to Wilmington Prints. So I'm going to use those 2. I'm going to use these as big blocks, and then I'm going to get these as the same size blocks. And this is my own pattern. This isn't one from a book. And here it is all done up. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the accent. And then in between, I've got, and I can't decide, maybe y'all can, I don't know. By the time you see this, it's going to be done anyway. But in between, I've got either the clouds or the light blue. I'm leaning towards the light blue, and then I'll use the clouds for border. So yeah, that's how it's going to go together. So I'm going to have these, and then I'm going to use each of those sand trap pieces at the top and the bottom to make it just a little bit longer with accent fabric here and here. And then I'll put a border on. And then I was thinking I had an extra yard of the accent, the postcards one, but it looks like I only got 1 yard. I'm going to have to check my eBay order because I thought I ordered 2, but I was going to use that for the binding, but I can just use a solid green for the binding. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to get to cutting. The squares will finish at 10.5, I think, was the way my math went, because I can cut them at 11. And then 2 inches in between each one. So I'll cut those at 2.5 and 2 inches around, and then whatever I can get out of the border to finish it up. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. Wish me luck. I'm going to get started cutting. I'm going to take you along. I'm going to try to take you along for the whole ride, so to speak. So I look forward to doing this, and I look forward to finishing up my my quilts for the week. I don't know, for the month. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. start sewing. I've got all my strips here. I don't think I'll need all of them right now, but I have them all. And I'm going to sew one on each left side. I'm sorry, one on each right side. And then I've got a couple that I'll have to sew the right side, and then I'll do the sashing in between. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, sorry about the lighting in here, but this quilt top is so far put together. I have all of these panels and all of these extra pieces put together. If I'd have been thinking, I would have tried to cut the clouds so they stayed right side up all the time, but some of them are on their side and there's not really anything I can do about it now. I used up all of that blue cloud fabric I had. I'll show you how much I had left over. Look out, kitty, kitty. Look out. Come on, you gotta move. Okay, so this was all I had left over. I even used that last 2.5 inch scrap that I had trimmed at the end. That's it for leftover. Not even, I don't know, 20, 35, 20 inches maybe if I put them all together. Took some creative piecing to get that done. So next up is to take these sand traps and the little pieces I trimmed off when I made the squares, so those to go at the top and the bottom of the quilt. So that is what this is going to look like. Once I put them together, it's going to be like this on the top and on the bottom. If I cut these in half the long way, they're just a little longer than I need, but if I go the other way, they're wider here, but they're not long enough then. So this is what's going to go next, top and bottom, and then I'll figure out a border. Okay, this quilt top is together. This is where I pieced around the border. the sand traps and then into the other fabric. It was not quite long enough, so I did put on either end a little bit of this light blue on the top and the bottom. And it is all laid out on the bed. I've got a crinkle up there I'll fix, but it's all laid out here in a quilt sandwich, and I'm going to get this spray basted and get to quilting it today. Okay, I have my quilt all rolled up here corner to corner. It's not going to stay that way because I'm quilting on my little machine, and I'm going to actually go corner to corner diagonally. So I'll go across and then I'll turn around and I'll go back and then I'll turn around and I'll go, so it'll be like a big zigzag till I get to a corner, and then I'll start in another corner and start over again. And then I think after I do that, I'm going to quilt along. Let's see if you can see that. I'm going to quilt along these lines also. So that's what I'm doing. You're welcome to stick around and watch for a few minutes. I'm not gonna tape this whole thing. Oh, I do need to change up my foot here. I need my walking foot. Or even feed foot, whatever you call it. I've heard it called both names. Basically, it just feeds the fabric evenly on the top and the bottom. The feed dogs grab on the bottom and feed the fabric through, and this will grab on the top and feed the fabric through. So it has its own feed dogs enclosed. If you're not familiar with this, and you do a lot of your own quilting on your little domestic machine, check it out. Okay, so I am just going to start. I think I'm going to start in this corner and just keep going. Nope. I'm going to start in this corner. I'm going to start in the actual decorative block and see how that works. Couple stitches, couple backs. If I was running all the way off the edge, I wouldn't bother with any back stitching, and I won't back stitch on the corners when I turn around. So I'm just going to go from this corner to this corner. I don't know how much of this you can see. I'm using light blue thread. It'll show up really well on some of it, and it won't show up at all on some of it. So this is neutral as I can get. Alright, so I made it to that corner. I'm going to just cross across. It's very heavy, so I do have to give it a lot of pushing and stuff too, and I will probably put gloves on here shortly. And then I'm just going to go from this corner to this corner. Sometimes it gets a little bow in it. It's not going to matter in the grand scheme of it. He will love this quilt no matter what. Okay, y'all, I am back to finish quilting this quilt. It has actually been 2 weeks today since I started quilting this. I just have not had a moment to get back out here. So I'm going to finish quilting. I've already done all of the diagonals. Now I'm just going to quilt along these seams. Hopefully you can see that. Just going to quilt along these seams. Nope, you can't see that. Okay, so I'm just going to be quilting along these seams because I've already done all the diagonals. So I've got most of a full bobbin, so let's see how far I get. I am going to start in the middle. All right, so this golf themed quilt is finished. It has been gifted, and it's time for me to show it to you. This one was for Salty. This one, it's a chemo quilt for Salty. I don't even know what to say. Okay, this quilt is finished. This golf themed quilt is for Salty. It is a chemo quilt. So about a month ago, Salty was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And we were sitting in the yard just after the diagnosis, and made a couple of chemo quilts before. We were sitting in the yard just after the diagnosis, and he said, well, now you can make me a chemo quilt. And I know at the time he was kind of trying to play it off as a joke, but it was already in my mind. He loves to play golf. He's a big golf enthusiast. And I went online and I found the fabric. And this is Salty's golf-themed chemo quilt. I try to do chemo quilts in the color that coordinates with the type of cancer. And the color for prostate cancer is light blue. And I didn't want to do them a whole quilt in light blue, but there was a lot of light blue in this fabric. So I have the big blocks as I discussed. I've got some lint on there, but I've got the big blocks. I put them together. I did use the clouds in the middle, and you can't see it, but you will in the pictures. I used the other sand trap border on the top and the bottom, and then it was just a little short. He's very, very tall. Not very, very tall, but he's 6'2", and I wanted to make sure it was long enough for him to cover him from, the neck and his sides and all the way down. So I did add, and you'll see it in the pictures, a little bit of the solid light blue at the top and the bottom, just to make it a little bit longer. The back is this solid, I want to say teal, but it's not really a teal color. It's more, I don't know, maybe more royal. And then I did the binding in the same fabric, and at the top, and you'll get to see it in the pictures. On the back, there is a light blue ribbon block. So y'all are some of the first ones to hear. The family knows, but the kids know, but we haven't made it a big public thing yet. So I'm at a loss for words on this one. There will be pictures at the end. Thanks so much for watching.